Hello, my name is Kresten Fisher, and this is my industry research podcast for PTM. Today, I will be talking about four different instances in the recording industry that I think are important right now. I'm going to start off with technology, and my first source that I found talks about how the CD and MP3 changed the recording industry, and also how recording programs or DAWs like Pro Tools and even Logic make musicians making them kind of making it kind of unnecessary for them to go to studios, and that's a really big thing in today's industry, especially for the recording industry. I mean, the music industry itself is doing all right because there are always going to be artists that are talented, but the recording industry is actually losing money through digital distribution because there's so much piracy going on, and also because people are learning how to do it themselves. And honestly, it's not that hard anymore with the amount of gear that you can get for the prices that you can get it for. You can learn to do it yourself, and way cheaper. It'll save you a lot of money. And my second source is pretty funny. It goes along with the how the CD and MP3 changed the recording industry, because EMI brought in a group of teenagers into their facility, and they did a bunch of tests, see what they liked and stuff like that. And at the end, they asked all the kids to help themselves to a pile of CDs on the table, and they didn't take any of them. And then they knew that hard copy distribution was soon going to go to the wayside, and it did to the MP3 and just digital downloads and stuff like that. And EMI thought that digital downloads were going to save the recording industry and greatly boost sales, but they were dead wrong. This brings me to my second topic, which is economics. So there were four major labels in the recording industry. There's Sony, EMI, Warner Brothers, and Universal. My first source talks about how it's basically a monopoly. It's 85% of the recording industry is owned by these four groups, so it's very, very close to being a monopoly. And to make that even closer, EMI, who thought that the digital downloads were going to save them, were bought out by Sony and Universal. So now there's only three companies in the recording industry, three major labels. So this really narrows down an artist's choice for how they want to go, because when you get into those giant labels, you always run into problems with artists not being able to be who they really are, and that's a whole other story. But the window is almost closed. Let's say that. Industry trends is my third topic that I'm going to talk about. I came across this T-Pain article, and everybody knows T-Pain as the auto-tune master, which at first it was Cher. She really started it, but a little bit about auto-tune before this. It was invented for good singers who just need a little bit of tune-up. It's just if you hit a flat note, you just change it so that a good take isn't ruined by one or two bad notes. But how it works is it analyzes what note you're singing and it puts it on a grid, and which is basically like a piano scale. And this allows you to in turn move the note and manipulate it further to match the note that you wanted. But if you move it more than enough, it makes you sound very robotic and what you now know is auto-tuning. So that's what auto-tune is. And in my opinion, these auto-tuners, they're getting popular and they're not all that talented, which kind of puts real artists to the wayside, because anymore can you really tell who's real and who's fake with how much editing there is. But that's just the industry that we're in right now, and that's what it is, because trends come and go, who knows what's going to be next. But the more technology that keeps coming out, the more people are going to try to fool around with it and manipulate it, and it's going to change every single time new pieces of gear come out. That's what happens. And honestly, it opens the door for more creativity. So I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing, but I do think people need to get back to real talent and stuff like that. That kind of does bother me. The fourth topic I'm going to talk about is media influence. And I read an article that talks about basically how the producers and the media decide what is popular. Because these people who are going to manipulate and come up with these new ideas are the people who are in the studio 24/7, who are working with this gear around the clock, so they know what it can and can't do and what they can make it do, what that maybe it's not supposed to. So the whole thing with auto-tune is, those were artists and producers and really talented people in a room messing with something that wouldn't normally be used that way. And the media, I think it's really easy for the media to decide what's popular, because when you have little kids, and because little kids are being shown what life is supposed to be like through music videos and stuff like that, they're told you need to do this to be happy, you need to do that. So of course they're going to like what's shown to them, if in turn they're going to be rich and famous, which is very unlikely, because the people who are doing that, who are rich and famous, had a game plan, and it's completely hidden from what you see in the first place. So what can I learn from all these things? There's really nothing you can learn but to be able to change and adapt to new things that come along, because if you can't, the music industry is something that's always changing, and you're never going to be able to stop. You're never going to be able to stop it. It's always going to bring new things, new artists, new types of music, and it's a venture, and I love it. Even though I might not be a fan of today's music, I do know that it takes talent and a lot of work to do good at it. So I respect everybody in the recording industry and everybody in the music industry. That's all I have for you. Thank you so much for listening to my podcast. I'm Kresten Fisher.